Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with homemade mascarpone. That's right, I'm going to show you how to make Italian-style cream cheese, which is very similar to regular cream cheese, except pretty much better in every way. Okay, it's not quite as tangy, but it is richer and more decadent. And whether you're going to use it in classic desserts like cheesecake or tiramisu, or just as a simple spread for bread, this recipe could not be easier and only requires 2 ingredients. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with the first one, and that would be a couple cups of heavy cream that we will transfer into a heavy bottom saucepan, and then we'll set our heat to medium. And this kind of cream is called different things in different places, but what we're looking for is something that's about 40% butterfat. And while we're definitely going to use something that's pasteurized, it's recommended to avoid creams that are ultra pasteurized, which according to people that know things, may not work out texturally as well. But anyway, what we'll do is heat our cream up on medium until it's somewhere between 185 and 190 degrees Fahrenheit, which if you're not going to do this with a thermometer, is right as it starts to simmer. All right, we're talking just barely. And as it comes up to temp, it's not a bad idea to give it the occasional stir. And then what we'll do once our cream is about 190, or like I said, it just starts to think about simmering, we will reduce our heat to medium-low, and then stir in 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, which is, believe it or not, the only other ingredient you need to make this. And then to complete the procedure, all we have to do is cook this stirring for 3 minutes, while trying to maintain that temperature between 185 and 190. And during that time, you're going to see the mixture thicken up a little bit. All right, it's not going to get really thick, but it will definitely change noticeably. And that's it. After 3 minutes, we'll turn off the heat, and we'll give it one final whisking. And if everything's gone according to plan, this is what your mixture should look like on a spoon. All right, this is the old proverbial should coat the back of a spoon stage. And if you drag your fingertip across like this, it should hold some nice sharp edges. So that is looking good. And at this point, what we need to do is let this sit and cool for 30 minutes. All right, so the heat's off. You're going to set your timer. And while we're waiting for that to cool down, we can go ahead and set a strainer over a bowl in which we're going to place a clean, folded up kitchen towel. And yes, some people do like to use cheesecloth, but I find sometimes some of the cream will leak through that, and we lose some of the product. So I much prefer the folded up kitchen towel method. And that's it. 30 minutes later, we'll go ahead and carefully remove that from the stove, and we will very carefully start ladling that into our towel. And because my towel was folded in quarters, I'm actually going to have 4 layers of fabric, which means any of the whey that leaks out of this mixture is probably going to be absorbed into the cloth and not necessarily make it to the bottom of the bowl. But we definitely want to have something underneath just in case. And then once all that's been transferred in, we need to let this cool down to room temp before we transfer it into the fridge, which after already sitting for 30 minutes should be pretty close. And to prevent the top from drying out or forming a skin, what we'll do while this cools is lay a piece of plastic wrap over the top, and we will ever so gently press that down on the surface. And like I said, we'll let that cool down to room temp, at which point we will very carefully and very thoughtfully transfer that into our fridge, where we will leave it overnight to give it time for all the magic to happen. And then the next morning we will pull it out, and we will pull off that plastic, and we will grab a knife, and we will dig into the richest, most luxurious, most beautiful cream cheese you've ever had. And by the way, there's basically 2 different kinds of homemade mascarpone. There's the very soft, creamy one, and then there's the one I showed you how to make, which is the beautifully thick and dense version, which appearance-wise can look kind of grainy, but texture-wise is not. Okay, when you actually taste this, on your tongue and in your mouth, it should feel as smooth as butter. So mine definitely passed the texture test. And as good as it was off my finger, I went ahead and spread a little on some toast. And because this is not seasoned at all, I went ahead and sprinkled down a little salt. And that, my friends, really is tremendous. All right, if you like regular cream cheese, you are going to absolutely love this. And you can now make it pretty much anytime you want. And not only have what is maybe a superior product, but definitely less expensive than buying actual mascarpone. Oh, and if you want to add some flavorings into this, feel free. All right, some people like to add a little touch of sugar or a few drops of vanilla. So as usual, those kind of tweaks will be up to you. I mean, you are, after all, the Chuck Mangione of your homemade mascarpone. And speaking of tooting your own horn, this really was truly magnificent as is. And personally, I prefer to add any kind of flavorings after the fact, depending on how we're going to use it. So by keeping it neutral, we have a lot of different ways we can go. Oh, and check this out. As I mentioned, most of that liquid got absorbed by the towel, and there was only a couple teaspoons of water at the bottom, which might have actually been from condensation. But anyway, that's why you do want to have a bowl underneath. And then once made and determined to be awesome, we can go ahead and transfer that into some kind of crock or other appropriate storage container. And besides using it as a spread, it is also now ready to use in so many great recipes, like ravioli or cheesecake, or of course the world-famous tiramisu. And if you can't decide whether to eat it with something sweet like fruit, or something savory like pasta, you could do both, and just enjoy it with some beautiful garden tomatoes with a little sprinkling of salt, and enjoy something that's sweet and savory. And if you're thinking to yourself, usually when he makes something like this, he does another video following that uses it as an ingredient, well, you would actually be correct, since I'm currently working on a little something called tiramisu toast. Oh yeah, you heard me. Tiramisu toast. It's just like avocado toast, but with tiramisu. And once perfected, I will be more than happy to share that with you all. But in the meantime, no matter what you decide to use this for, I really do hope you give this a try soon. So please follow the links below for the ingredient amounts, a printable written recipe, and much more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.